All right, we can run it.
Are you ready?
Mm-hmm. Let's go. Let's go. Hey, welcome back, y'all. Sorry, we had some tech issues. Uh, if they happen again, forgive us. Thanks for joining us. And we'll just try to get it uploaded. But yeah, yeah. All right. Uh, let's go ahead and get to the Black Awareness Rally moments. Matter of fact, please do the intro of them because I'm gonna record it all over again. So
Oh,
for
okay.
the people that's joining us.
All right. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Mike T. Sharp, aka the Black Awareness Rally podcast, which has been affectionately taken from the movie Coming to America. You could be rocking with anybody else in the world right now, but you are here with us, and for that we do appreciate you. It's your man Pledge, alongside my main man Big,
Hola.
and we want to welcome you guys to the discussion. Thank you for rocking with us.
All right, man.
So, Big,
Let's try it again. Black awareness in the building.
yes, we appreciate you guys working through the pause, but it's for a good cause. So we do appreciate you guys. So yeah, but I know that we were getting ready to get into the Black Awareness Rally moments. We were going to start with the Miss Black Awareness Rally pageant.
It
Uh,
sponsors.
huh? Oh, the sponsors sponsored by the Hugh Hefner Own High. That's who.
Hey, man, can take the picture, but only Hugh Hefner on Hacker bring it to you like
Yeah,
this live and living color. McDowell's, primary sponsor, and this specific segment is brought to you by the Hugh Hefner on High. All right,
yes.
get it started. I'd like to nominate Shantae Lundy, the founder of Black Girl Sunscreen, for securing a $5 million evaluation after receiving funding from a private female funding source. The female, the excuse me, the funder or the investor gave her $1 million, and after her evaluation, she was appraised at $5 million. It's the first time that a double minority-owned business was able to achieve that amount of funding, and it's pretty huge. So if y'all need some sunscreen and y'all a sister, you can check her out. It's called Black Girl Sunscreen.
Nice, 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 nice. I'm gonna go. I guess we can go ahead and get directly into the community moment. That's sponsored by McDowell.
Hmm.
They got the Golden Arches, but we got the Golden Arcs. So, so yeah, I mean, you want to go ahead and jump in with yours with the Oakland project?
Yeah. For the community moment, I'm nominating the Social Engineering Project of Oakland. They have a summer in the city and overnight camping conference program, both of which are aimed at connecting children of color, starting as early as fifth grade all the way up into high school, with STEM skills, and it teaches them personal branding skills and how to network and how to get those positions and try to get them to be interested in STEM degrees once they go to college. So shout out to them. Anybody interested in getting their young person, child, relative in that program, they will be hosting their summer in the city program July 13th through the 17th. It's $350 per student, and it's a worthwhile cause if you want your child to start training and get interested in a program in an industry that be with us for a long while, especially with this pandemic going on.
For sure. And I think I was talking to you about it. A gentleman that joined us on the show a couple of weeks ago, he is a recruiter. And I was asking him how things were going during the pandemic. And he was saying, thankfully, he's in a to where he hires a lot of engineers
Mm-hmm.
uh, and people that are in the science and mathematics. And so he's like, those jobs are still hiring right now, despite the economic downturn. So if we are trying to, get our kids into something to where they'll have a lot of job options. That's definitely the field to focus on. So big up to them for improving the STEM skills. And my moment is going to be Killer Mike, who's sometimes a spokesman for all things Black in Atlanta. Whether that's a good thing or not, but he did go on an 8-minute announcement. I'm not sure what day it was, but it might have been Thursday or Friday when things were at its at its highest point as far as what was going on, as far as the protests and things of that nature. And I know even this has been a divisive subject. Some people feel certain ways about it, but I do like the perspective that Killer Mike brought to the subject of explaining that he is the son of a police officer.
Mm-hmm.
He went through kind of the history of his family being involved in civil rights actions in the past. Even some of the things that B brought up last week, that you brought up about what we need to do to, some of the action items that we can do to make sure that, we're heard, we're accounted for. He gave two of them. When he said to make sure that you fill out the census, was the same thing that you said, and
Mm-hmm.
to vote.
Mm-hmm.
But he was really trying to get people to take a more calculated approach,
Right.
mobilizing and coming up with a plan and a strategy for how we're going to make this through. So I want to, I think it was at the request of T.I. and the mayor that he spoke. I mean, he did express his frustrations.
Yeah.
And I know one thing he said is that Atlanta's a different city. It's the makeup of it makes it to where things like that are handled different in Atlanta. With instances of police officers. So I think it was a great perspective, and and I appreciate the brother for stepping out and making those comments.
Yeah. Yep. That's what's up. Let's go to our sexual chocolate segment. That's our art segment, sponsored by Sexual Chocolate and Randy Watson. I have Tracy Ellis Ross as my nominee for this week for overcoming a different type of stage fright. She released a film called High Note, and in it she performed as a singer, and she talked a lot about how it took a while for her to overcome that fear of singing in front of people. So if you guys are familiar with Tracy Ellis Ross, that is the daughter of the iconic diva Diana Ross. So yeah, big up to her for overcoming that, and she's always a fan favorite here on the show.
Yeah.
It's just one of them sisters, man. If I got the chance, I'm risking it all. So, I think I got a lot of celebrities I'd risk it all for, but I think everybody would agree with me. Tracy Ellis Ross, Angela Rye, Amanda Seals, Michelle Obama. They understand.
Yeah, I hear you. It may be a half court shot, but you still gonna shoot your shot.
If I got to go free throw line to free throw line, I'm gonna heave it.
I hear you.
So
I hear you. And my art segment moment is going to be for the young brother Kendron Bryant, the 12-year-old whose song has gone viral. He's normally a gospel performer, but he performed the protest anthem, "I Just Want to Live." Not only are the words that he's singing powerful, but also the way this brother can sing. I mean, he has some real talent, and I'm pretty sure that just about all of us have seen the video of this young brother already. But I do want to give him a shout out for not only what he's saying, but doing it in such a artful manner. So big shots to him.
Peace, peace, peace. I saw that video, y'all. I couldn't watch it though. It it triggers
You
me.
couldn't watch the
Nah,
video of the singing.
couldn't watch it. Couldn't watch Tracy Ellis Ross sing either. Just I don't know. That's one of those. Maybe we was talking earlier about having proud parent moments and how you don't want your kid to get hurt or be in a position that they might feel bad about their performance. And so I kind of close my eyes to it. That's weird. I don't know what that's about, but I just be like, oh, I'm proud of that person for doing that thing, but I can't watch it because I don't want to cringe. But no, I
I
saw it.
mean, you have a lot of credibility, so I
Yeah.
mean, you might be a tad bit too critical on singing
No,
skills.
I for those of us that might not be where I used to sing, uh, still one of my passions, but uh, I don't like watching what I think might be a less than optimal performance by somebody. So I usually cringe, and I be a little nervous to watch certain stuff. So that's a little bit of B history. Anyway,
Yeah.
uh, yeah, man, let's get to it. Let's do it to it. All right,
So which
topic
sub?
number one. Go ahead.
I'm saying which subject we gonna tackle first. I know we got about four of them on the
On the list.
table. Yeah.
Uh, yeah. I guess we'll start with W.E.B. Du Bois, and that's the young man or the person pictured in the graphic this week. And the topic for this segment is why do we box each other in? For anybody that might be looking for us to do a deep dive on some other stuff, we'll try that if it comes to it. But I guess we'll start with what is double consciousness. I know that's something that Pledge is adamant about when we do have a chance to discuss some of the issues that have been coming up over the last month. And for anybody that's not aware, double consciousness was a concept that was created by the young man in the graphic. His name is W.E.B. Du Bois. He was a leader in the late 1800s, early 1900s, so 19th, 20th century. He was the first black person in America to receive a doctorate. So he's like one of those brainiac type of people. He's one of my favorite thought leaders. He would be like the Malcolm X to Booker T. Washington's Martin Luther King. So his theory is that black people have it a bit harder than anyone else in the country because we not only have to worry about how we are as black people, but we have to worry about how people see us that aren't blacks. So we have to walk around with these two thoughts at all times about, how we portraying ourselves, coming from the community that we come from,
I mean,
and
just
how
word.
white people see us.
Just think about the word African American. I mean, it's two separate and distinct words. I'm saying so.
Yeah.
I think that's what leads it to. Is like not only we're not just American, but we bring that African diaspora into it as well. And so the word alone almost creates two separate identities, two identities that have not coincided very well with each other. So I think that's kind of it speaks to itself. The word itself speaks to um, the challenges that might come with being a part of the African American race.
Mm-hmm. Pledge.
What's up?
Yeah, problem, man.
What's the problem?
People want us to talk about it.
Talk about what?
You know what's going on that side, man.
I mean, we can get to it then. I mean, it ain't no thing.
Yeah. Wow. So let's twist this way. So this week been wild, and it's been really emotional. So I think everybody can agree to that. It's been a lot of stuff going on, and it's a lot of uh, basically the double consciousness with Dubois. Uh, one of the reasons I used to like him as a thought leader was he he used to fly in the face of a lot of conventions of the day. Uh, for anybody that didn't know, Dubois was what a lot of people called a accommodationist, which meant he was really big on, let's take these small steps to prove ourselves to white America that we belong and that they can trust us, and ultimately they'll be nonviolent in their interactions with us. And Dubois was like, nah, fuck that. And this is in the 1880s, 1890s, 1900s, 1910s. And he was like, man, I worked damn hard to be get a doctorate. I worked damn hard to become this engineer, scientist. And, you know, damn appeasing them. We need to go out, get these high level degrees and come back and take care of our own communities. So in 1906, Dubois was living in Atlanta, Georgia, and he was a professor at what was then Atlanta College. And he was telling that message to anybody that was willing to listen to him. He was the scholar of the day. Kind of like, who can we compare him to? I guess I just say Malcolm X. Maybe not as scary to people, but they had the same message. And there was a riot in 1906 where white Americans in Atlanta thought that 4 white women had been raped by black men. And so they went to tearing shit up, which is normal for the history. And in tearing the shit up, they murdered, I think it was 48 or 36, because they counted it by dozens. They murdered 3 dozen black people, right? And so where this kind of gets me excited, like my favorite team just scored a game-winning touchdown, is when they ran up on Atlanta College, which is a very popular college of the day. They were met with Dubois sitting on the steps with a double-barrel shotgun. So that's the type of guy he was. That's the type of character he was. So not only was he a scholar, politician, and the doctor, he was willing to take up arms when it came to it. So what we're doing now is we're trying to draw some of the similarities. So somebody just asked me how Dubois and Malcolm the same. Malcolm was a scholar. Malcolm believed in organization, strategizing, unification, putting aside your religious differences, bringing the plight to the center stage, no matter what your your religious background was when it came to black people. And if I need to, I'm gonna pick a gun up. So you're looking at Dubois through the guise of Malcolm X's Battle of the Bullet. They're the same way. I apologize about the audio issue. I know I'm doing the fan thing right now. It's not perfect. Still having some tech issues trying to figure that out, but we got to keep it moving. All right. So how does that relate to today? We see it. I mean, we got the kids that are upset. We got the young adults that are upset. The ballot hasn't been working enough for them. And right now the kids are taking up the bullet. So Malcolm's famous speech, the Battle of the Bullet, is we're gonna vote, we're gonna vote, we're gonna participate in the systems y'all got set up. But the moment you start putting your hands on us, we're gonna hit you back. And so what we're seeing right now is kids feeling like the ballot hasn't necessarily worked for us the way we wanted it to. Marching hasn't worked the way we wanted it to. So what you got?
I mean, the fact that the same things that were happening, over 100 years ago was continuing to take place now
Mm-hmm.
shows that things, you know, have not progressed to the level that we wanted to.
Yeah.
But the thing is that I've seen over this week is that, I mean, is racism a problem for Black people to solve, or is racism, since we're not the ones that are being racist, is it our problem to solve? I mean, that's the question that I have. I mean, how can we solve the hearts and minds of other people who have generationally after generation after generation, um, you know, had problems with us? How can we solve that problem?
Um, I'm looking up for a quote to get that answer because I like the way he said. Uh, and Malcolm say, when it come to violence, it's criminal to teach a man not to defend himself when he's the constant victim of brutal tactics. Brutal attacks. It's a criminal to teach a man to not defend himself. And so
Yes.
what we're looking at now is kids that are unwittingly doing the same thing. And so uh, it's like I was saying a couple weeks ago, bro. They not finna change. I had a conversation with somebody yesterday that was trying to understand, trying to gain perspective, and trying to see what was happening, but couldn't understand why the kids were behaving the way they're behaving. And I had to tell her, I was like, look, it's unfortunate for everybody involved that the property is being damaged, but what you're seeing now is people that don't believe the system is effective enough to get the change that they need immediately. And so, you know, violence is begetting violence.
I feel you there. Here's what I like when you say, we have to, when you refer to Malcolm saying that we have to, it's criminal for us not to prepare ourselves. I think that we're looking at the physical fight. I think in all those, tragic situation that happened, I think there are things that happen to us in a more systemic way that affect more people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's a fight that we have to focus our attention on as well. Like our educational system. That's gonna harm more people. And that's something that we have to focus on. I think the video of what happened is so in our face. It's like a visual, that's very, very powerful. But I think it's a fight that takes form on a lot of different forms. In the same way that we have to, physically prepare ourselves for battle against people that are trying to physically harm us. We have to prepare ourselves for battles of people that are systemically harming us, to where we might not have a visual, but that affect us mentally and affect our opportunities in the world as well. So I think that
Oh, go ahead, go
so
ahead,
I think there are several fights that we have to prepare ourselves for, to overcome
Yeah.
and to overcome. I
Yeah.
just think that when you have a strong visual, that's the one that people seem to focus on,
Right.
because it's just so blatant, it's so clear.
Right.
But there are some fights that aren't as clear
Right.
that we need to be. Well,
Agreed. But ain't time for that talk right now. This is why I disagree with Killer Mike. So I disagree with T.I. So I disagree with anybody that's complaining about us behaving the way we're behaving in the streets right now. That talk was supposed to happen 2 years ago, 6 months ago, a year ago. We were supposed to be this adamant about getting to these kids back then. What you're seeing now is kids feeling like this is the only weapon they have in this fight. So how are we supposed to deal with that notion? Like, what are we supposed to do? Because I'm not blaming the kids. I'm not mad at the kids. I know sometimes it might sound like that because I don't own something that they would damage. Even if they damaged it, I'd be like, yeah, that's what we get, because we scared to go where they hadn't talked to him. That's just me though. As a teacher, I know I would get blamed if a kid wasn't able to multiply after leaving my class as a second grade teacher. I know that would be put on me. I know as a third grade teacher, when it came time for that kid to do fractions and they couldn't, it would be put on me. So when it comes time to be tested at the end of the year and they failing, they're going to look at me. Unless the kid was absent a lot, but they're going to look at me. So how is this different?
I understand that, but I think that protest rioting, I think it gets people attention. All right, once you get their attention, what are you going to say to them? That's all it does. It doesn't solve anything long term. You got there. It's almost like Jay-Z said, we're past kneeling. All right, now that we've got their attention due to the protesting, what are we trying to say to them? That's going to move the needle even further.
Let me ask this. Have we tried to listen to the kids? Because they talking. Did you go where the kids are to hear what they're saying?
I'm saying now we're forced to listen to them.
They've been trying to talk to us for a long time. And specifically on this issue, they've been saying something through social media since Tuesday. When they started rioting and protesting, they've been talking the entire time. I posted a video on my page of them telling you what they're doing and why they're doing it and what they want to happen for them to stop. Does anybody know what they want? This the problem with our community. And we're going to say, because it was some brown kids and black kids that were out there on the front lines in Minneapolis on their first night. What is it that they want? Does anybody in the comments know what they want? I don't think nobody do. Let me tell you what they say they want. They want all 4 officers arrested and convicted and put in jail, and they not stop until it happened. That's what the kids that popped this stuff off said in Minneapolis. That's exactly what they want. And they say they're going to fuck up everything that's municipal, which means government stuff, until they get what they want. And they're not intentionally burning shit down. They're not intentionally going to places like Arby's and Target. But if somebody getting in their way, they're going to let it be known that they're disgusted. So they are spray painting and vandalizing stuff. But they're not the ones actually starting the looting and the burning of stuff down. But these kids, we're not giving them enough credit. They moving like they know what they're doing. And these cats like 20, 22, 23. But we all sitting up here in these comfy places not talking to them when it's time to have these talks. I just feel like I'm going to just let them fuck shit up till they get tired. And if they don't die or get arrested, then I'm going to talk to them. That's just me, though. That's me, battle of the bullet mentality. You know, Malcolm like, look, you'll be a damn fool. Let somebody keep busting you up in your mouth and you marching and protesting and just marching and singing. You can't sing your way to freedom. You can't talk to nobody that ain't got no moral compass the same as you and hope they're going to see the shit you saying is relevant. When they only talk to you in violence, when they only get their freedom through violence, when they got their freedom from England through violence, you think talking to them going to get you some freedom? Kids don't even know that. They just mad.
Yeah, I mean, I feel you, but I think that it has to be, I think that's why it can't be something that is emotional and short term. As I said, you cannot riot forever. That's why I'm saying. That's why I alluded to what Killer Mike said when points were to plot, to plan, to organize, to strategize, and to mobilize.
I agree with that. I think that's
going to be long term.
That's a good idea. After all this shit stop burning down, that's a great idea. After this shit get done burning,
that's what's going to produce tangible fruits of this. Because I say, I'm not a part. I was not a part. There was protests in Tampa. I was not a part of it. But where I feel personally move to do things is to get involved with, the teenagers that I have access to, the young adults that I have access to, and be even more of a mentor. Reach out to brothers it's some brothers that both of us know personally that are doing some great things with young kids, and be a part of those organizations.
Right.
I'm saying Mr. Bradford, Mr. Keys, those guys, that have, the ear of young people, and really, that's how I feel personally moved to kind of help this situation out. Because, we were talking about the Jordan documentary, the Last Dance doc or whatever.
Right.
It's almost like when he was going against the Pistons and he couldn't get past the Pistons 2 years in a row, what did he tell everybody before they left the locker room what we're going to be doing over the summer? He said, we're going to get in the weight room and we're going to lift, because the only way we're going to get to our desired result is for us to get stronger than these cats. So when they try to punk us, we won't be moved. And so it's like we see something that happened. We got beat down by the Pistons, right? So you can go cry to the league and say, "Oh man, they fouling us. The league not trying to hear that or whatever.
Nah.
So what we have to do, we have to strengthen ourselves as a people, get in the weight room, come together, have an organized plan, saying, all right, so next time this happens or whatever, we're going to be stronger. We're going to be strong enough to overcome this. And I think that's one thing that us as a people have always been. We've always overcome.
I'm going to poke a hole in that. I'm going to poke a hole. I agree with you. That's right. That is, again, it's an awesome plan. I think everybody agree with you. But nigga, Jordan wasn't talking about lifting weights in the middle of the game. He wasn't telling Scottie Pippen, hey, let's stop playing right now and go lift weights. It's too late. That's a plan for when you get kicked out of the season and you got to go play. I agree with everything everybody's saying, but what we looking at right now at 2:46 p.m. Eastern Time, May 31st, 2020, is kids not having leadership in their face day in and day out. And this is what we got. I talked to my brother up here yesterday. He's been in Atlanta longer than I have. And I asked him, I said, hey, man, y'all listen to Killer Mike and T.I. up here? Like, y'all see them around? You know what they talking about T.I.? Fuck T.I. That nigga phony. That nigga just doing it for a paycheck. I say, damn. Now, this a cat that's out here preaching. You know, he's saying the right stuff. He's inconsistent according to some people, but he's saying the right stuff. And then I say, damn, what Killer Mike doing? Well, we don't really see him like that. We don't really know him like that. And so this is all my response is, ain't nobody finna listen to y'all when they mad. They don't want to talk when they mad. Killer Mike getting up there saying what he said, as true as it might be, it's too late, and they don't even fucking know you. T.I. getting up there saying what he's saying. If you look at the comments on some of these Twitter pages where the video was posted, niggas was cussing T.I. So but that goes to a topic that we were going to discuss about how we're not unified or organized, and how we cannibalize our own. I'm saying to where we have people that are trying to speak, but we always find ways to discredit them. No matter who it is, no matter what it is they're trying to say, some people will always try to find a way to discredit somebody, no matter how much sense they're speaking at the time. Which is, again,
because they personally haven't seen the person in Atlanta. As big as Atlanta, as many people as is in Atlanta, they haven't seen the person, so what they got to say ain't relevant. Like, come on.
So let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this, because I don't feel like this. I agree with you. We have a habit of doing that, but this wasn't. Well, actually, anytime we do that, I feel like this is the problem. I'm gonna go back to your analogy with Jordan them. So you said, got to lift weights, got to get stronger, so next time we fight them, we'll be able to take the punishment because the league ain't gonna stop them from beating us up, right? So
Yeah, but I wasn't referring to referring to a physical fight. I was
yeah,
referring
I get
to
what you're saying. I get what you're saying. Like for those of us that might not be aware, um, he used the analogy Michael Jordan, the Chicago Bulls of the 88, 89, and 90 season had to go into the playoffs against the Detroit Pistons, and when they were playing in those games, the Detroit Pistons were cheating by physically beating up and trying to intimidate the Chicago Bulls. And as a result, the Chicago Bulls lost them 2 years in a row. And on the third year, they had spent the summer before that third season working out, getting stronger, getting tougher, getting stronger, getting tougher, getting stronger, getting tougher. And then they won, and then that's the start of the Michael Jordan story. Now, where I'm poking holes in that same theory about people discrediting other black people is Killer Mike and T.I. Again, I don't know what they're doing here. I just got here. But for the people on the ground, you can't tell me nothing because we don't have a relationship. Which means this is one solution I heard offered. Why they in the Boys and Girls Club over in the area where my brother and his wife live, so that these kids can see these men or have an option to reconnect with leadership and authority? Why people sitting up on these high perches and trying to talk to these kids who down in the gutter and on the street trying to figure life out for themselves? I don't know. Somebody said Killer might be out here. I haven't seen him. I don't go anywhere, but my brother and his wife, who've been here going on 15 years, they don't. My brother said he's seen him once. So, players, if you, as a basketball coach that you are, you gonna be mad at your kids when they go to the game and you ran that one play that one time in practice 5 days ago because they didn't run it to execution in the heat of the battle?
nah.
So, as a coach, what should you do to get them to be ready for the next game?
No, but I'm saying, but I think there are fundamental things. There are fundamental things that should be in place to where we know that things like this have happened. So we should be equipped physically and mentally to overcome certain things. And as I said, it's like Killer Mike was saying, it's an emotional. Everybody is mad.
Yeah.
It's an emotional reaction to what's happening.
Right. So
Once I'm saying, you build yourself up to, with emotional intelligence. No matter what happens, you're emotionally equipped to handle things.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. We have to equip ourselves that no matter what happens, we are able to handle things and have a strategy moving forward. As I said, because Black people have been dealing with things for centuries in America. However, we've always been able to overcome and reach our goals. Always, no matter what, we as a people, we've been able to overcome and achieve things and reach our goals. So that's what I'm saying. We have to be able to equip ourselves. And that's why I say, in me trying to even more so immerse myself in working with young men is equip them, saying, hey, I want you to be ready. So no matter what opposition comes away, because there's no way to know when it's coming or where it's coming from. But if it does come, I need you to be prepared to handle things and to move forward. As I said, I have children, and one thing that I've seen a lot of parents say is, what do I say to my young Black boys? What do I say to my young Black girls? I have two boys who have the resources and the ability, the knowledge and know-how to achieve anything they want to achieve in this world. I wholeheartedly believe that. Wholeheartedly. Am I going to tell them that, you won't be able to make it because some people out here don't want you to make it? No, I have to tell them, like, hey, look, there will be opposition somewhere, somehow. I can't prepare you for all of it. But I need you to know that you are more than enough. You are capable of absolutely everything. And even if somebody tries to deny you of that, know that what you want in this life is attainable, and I will do absolutely everything in my power to help you get there. And to make sure that to maximize our effort in getting there, I am going to build you up to be able to withstand obstacles and challenges that come your way.
People mad at
That's
you?
the what's that?
People mad at you in the chat?
They can be mad at me if they want, but I'm just saying how I take care of me and mine. I'm
No,
saying
no disrespect. I just everybody feel where you coming from, man. And I know the three people that are willing to speak up. They agree with you to a step, and then y'all part ways on the what to do once the kids have to deal with racism. It's just racism, hate, bigotry, and so again, man, you've been tasked with the job of trying to find solutions. Uh, that's my fault because I kind of spew that out without thinking. But let me give you an anecdote. I used to hate when preachers did this in church. I'm gonna do it now. When I was a kid and we went to my grandma Christine's house, me and my sister would just run in the house, give her a hug, and just run to the back room in the back of the house because she had a big TV and it had color, and we could watch whatever we wanted to watch. So me and my sister used to do this all the time. And this one time, I raced back there before my sister got there, and I jumped in the bed after I turned the TV on, and I was like, ah. And I put my hands behind my head, and I hit something hard behind me, and I was like, okay, that's weird, because my hand was on the pillow. And so I turned around and looked for it, and it was a gun. 357 Magnum. Scared the crap out of me. I panicked, jumped up out the bed, and ran back to the living room. I had to be like 7, 6 at the time, right? And so I was like, Grandma, you got a gun in the bed. She's like, yeah, don't touch it. I was like, okay. So I was thinking about that today and setting up. This is where I put the onus on my grandparents and my mom to have me thinking differently earlier in my life. And maybe, this will help anybody that's listening. My grandmother had 2 guns. She had the revolver, the 357, and she had a sawed-off shotgun. And she had the handle taped with duct tape. It was badass. She was a bar owner. And so she knew she had to deal with some shit in Pompano Beach as a black businesswoman who, owned multiple places. So she kept guns. My mom ain't never talked to me about gun ownership as a kid. My daddy ain't never talked to me about gun ownership as a kid. My grandma, who told me not to touch the gun, still ain't talked to me about gun ownership as a kid. I ain't shoot my first gun until maybe 4 years ago. And I'm not, and again, this isn't a blame thing. This is what I'm saying could happen. This is an example of what we could be teaching our kids as early as 5. She should have been training me on how to use and handle a gun properly so that when I saw one, I didn't freak out. You get what I'm saying? It shouldn't be a thing that I'm weirded out by until I'm 30. It shouldn't be a thing that I freak out about until I'm 30. Or I'm an adult and independent. I'll just say that. So this goes back again. Why are we not teaching the kids as much as we know? I don't know everything.
That's what I'm saying. We as capable young men have the ability, we can go out and educate and be an example for other young men of, these are the things that happen. However, your goals are still worthy.
Yeah.
And we're gonna help you accomplish your goals. That's what I'm saying. Don't be like a quote from Carter G. Woodson.
Okay.
Is to handicap a student by teaching him that his blackface is a curse and that struggle to change his condition is hopeless is the worst sort of lynching. So all I'm saying is that don't let the things that happen keep you from getting what you feel is rightfully yours.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying is that if people, see things like that and they're hesitant in any way to go out and do the things that are right for them to do or whatever, it hasn't just affected that one brother, it's affected multiple people. So that's all I'm trying to say is that the things that we want to go out and do, the things that we know are rightfully ours or whatever. Don't let these situations discourage you from going out and doing it. As I said, if anything, we might have to, using my Jordan analogy, we might have to lift a little bit more weights to get stronger for that opposition or whatever.
Yeah.
But we still gonna get that ring though. That's all I'm saying.
So we out here, right? We're in the middle of the pond, going crossing the river, and the boat got a hole in it, right? So the riot is happening. They burning shit down. They mad, and the boat got a hole in it. We starting to sink. What we do now? What we do now, y'all?
Was it in our original intent to get to the other side?
It's always about getting to the other side. We just want equality, which I think is
if
wrong.
Our original intent to get to the other side is to find a way to get to the other side because we're in the middle. So if we go back now, it's just as much work to go back than it is to get to our destination.
I mean, we sinking though. We're gonna get there, but we sinking. But some of us ain't gonna make it because we can't swim, and we ain't teach everybody on the boat how to swim. That's the unfortunate reality of, again, 3 p.m. May 31st, 2020. Some of these kids gonna get put in jail. Some of them might not get out of jail. And what y'all seeing online, I don't know if y'all see it, but y'all got all these white boys that's out here ready to murder and fight and shoot and just prepared to go gangbusters on us. I like this analogy I was using this week. They going Dwight K. Schrute on us. If y'all watch the TV show The Office, Dwight K. Schrute is this dude that's really just really paramilitary, just extra legal, which means he like to take the law in his own hand. He's a volunteer sheriff on the weekends, and he think he supposed to execute the law wherever he at anytime he see fit. And he believe in that so much so that in his office, he has a desk, and in that desk, he has 12 weapons that he keeps with him at work. And all the white people look at him like he's tripping, but they don't say nothing to him. He got mace, he got nunchucks, he got ninja stars, he has a taser, and he has a large knife that's a small machete. Now, there is a black dude on the show. His name is Stanley Hudson. And Stanley sits in the back of his desk and he just keeps his head down and he don't say nothing. He act like he don't care. He just there for the paycheck. Stanley ain't never got no weapons. I know I'm going a little deeper than the rabbit hole go. But we dealing with a bunch of Dwight K. Schrutes, bro. And they live for this. It's a dude named Brandon McGilty or something like that. He made the news in St. Louis for jumping out of his car in traffic in the middle of a protest, pulling out a large knife, we're talking like 16, 18 inches long, and yelling at protesters that all lives matter. Now, in the video, you couldn't see where the protesters were because they were not in the road with him. And so the clip goes on to another section. He gets back in his car from the first clip, and he drives further down the road. And then there's more people in the road, and there's more protests going on. But this time, Brandon is outside of the car, and he's got a bow and arrow. And he's pointing again at people saying all lives matter, like Dwight K. Schrute might do in The Office. And he's telling them all lives matter. Now, was we supposed to let him shoot us before we like officer help? Because cops were standing there the whole time. They didn't tell him to put the bow and arrow away. They were standing there in riot gear. They didn't approach him. You know what the kids started to do? They jumped him, swarmed him, disarmed him, beat him up, hit him in the head with a skateboard. Whatever they had in their hand, they hit him with it. Then the cops jumped in. They riot gear. Then they tried to save him. But he was already had his head busted open. It wasn't that bad, but he had a couple splits where he was leaking pretty bad. And then he tried to go to the news, and guess who he blamed for it? He said, I got jumped by 2 black people. But it clearly shows in the video, everybody of all ethnicities jumped on him because they knew he was on that bullshit. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm cussing to the church folk. Sorry. But what's up? I know I got one friend that I know she wants to teach her babies. I think she got a couple kids, that's one in 6th grade and I think 4th and 5th grade, I believe. I could be wrong. And she out there teaching her kids how to grow their own food. I don't own no land. I ain't got no kids, but I do believe in teaching kids to be self-sufficient. I know my boy Glenn up in Minnesota. He believe in getting out there and learning how to navigate and track the land. Uh, I know Quishina. She got a farm, a garden in her backyard. So her kids, I'm sure, are involved and watching and learning how to do things.
Yeah.
It's
Shout
on
outs to
us,
my
man. Oh, go ahead.
my kids playing in the garden at my in-laws house. I mean, they're growing squash and some other vegetables.
So right.
So shout out to my in-laws for making that happen for them. But yeah,
Hey,
I mean, they're learning and planting vegetables. So
hey. I still ain't seen American Gods yet on Cinemax. Is it Cinemax? Do you know about that? With the guy named Orlando Jones, the actor, and he got this big part where he plays the African god Anansi, and he gives this
I
big
haven't
passing
seen
speech
it.
to slaves.
I
Yeah,
heard about it because I think it was a situation to where some things were going on the set behind the scenes in that show or whatever that came to light. So
yeah. Uh, bro, we got to do what's called. This is gonna be scary to people. This ain't the same thing as white nationalists, but we got to be more black nationalist minded. And what that means is we have to be self-sustaining. It doesn't mean we have to move out of America. It doesn't mean we have to, go live on an island somewhere and build from the ground up. But what it means is we have to be self-sufficient in the fact that we are looking to us to govern ourselves. We are looking to us to police ourselves. We are looking to us to defend ourselves. We are looking to us to be economically independent enough that no matter what's happening on the outside world, we straight. I love Chinatown. Chinatown is everywhere. There's one in Boston, New York, San Francisco. Hell, it
yeah,
might be one in Atlanta.
I was at the one in San Francisco last summer. I mean,
Right. Now, tell me this. Why did the Chinese in Boston and Chinatown end up having the lowest amount of COVID-19 infections in the city? Could it be because of testing? Could it be because they're just way healthier than us? Could it be because everybody's young and spry and full of life? Who knows? But you know what definitely is understood about the Chinese population in Boston? They communicated with the people in China, and they knew what was going to happen before we got to it. They had been to China and came home and was prepared to deal with it. And they had already been equipping themselves with masks for years before the COVID had hit America because of the SARS epidemic back in '03, or was it '02? So when it started happening, people noticed like, well, they were already equipped with the tools necessary to deal with this in a way, right? What's another thing? They don't necessarily want to go outside of their neighborhood to get testing because they know of the racism that awaits them, not just because of COVID, but because they're Chinese in Boston. Boston's a pretty fucking racist place. Pretty darn racist place. Sorry for the cussing. But we have all these different models and tools that we have not been using. I've been spending time this week trying to get reacclimated with some of the thinking and the heroes now that we got to show up and running so we can let these people know we have to get prepared. We need to start today. We need to start tomorrow, yesterday. Like, how many of y'all finished your sentences last week like I asked you to do? How many of y'all went and made sure your voter registration stuff is straight so you can vote on June 8th in the primary election, the general election, so you can have somebody you want on the ballot in November? I ain't go march yesterday. I ain't marched the day before that. I'm not going to march. I'm still believing in this self-imposed shelter in place thing because of COVID. But you can still get work done. You ain't got to be out there hemming and hawing all day. And unfortunately, the kids don't know that, and that's why they're doing what they're doing to the streets. Yes, they looting in Foot Locker. Yes, they looting in black-owned businesses that are on their side of town. But in Tampa, I'm surprised anybody know this in Tampa. In Tampa, you can't catch the bus to the white side of town. You can't catch the bus to New Tampa. You can't catch the bus past Livingston. So y'all talking about why you won't go on that side of town to loot? They can't get there. Can we get to West Chase on the bus? It take 4 hours. I did it. It take 4 hours to get to not West Chase, West Shore. It take 4 hours to get there on the bus. You think they're gonna be calm enough to ride the bus for 4 hours? Yes, they're gonna tear their stuff up. And they're gonna tear up the stuff that belong to the people that they think have wronged them and have given them something that they cannot attain. Stop pointing fingers at these kids. Get out there and talk to them. When all this shit calm down, get out there and talk to them kids after you educate yourself. These kids want to learn. They want the life they see on TV. They want the life they see these white kids have. And it's our fault that they don't feel like they can get it. And second topic, what we was going to talk about, what white people, the difference between white and black people. Anybody know the difference between white and black people? Pledge, you know it. You can tell them. I'm finna look at these comments. Anybody in the comments know the difference between white and black people? The one thing that they just swear to this day, they still telling their kids this. What's the difference?
Entitlement?
What's the S word? Give them the S word.
I don't know.
They think they superior to us. They teach their kids that they're superior to us. Do we talk to our kids about racism? Do we tell them, nigga, you superior to white people? Do we even teach the kids the meaning of the word superior? I haven't taught very many black kids to know what the word superior means. Do we teach our kids that you can do whatever the fuck you want to do if you put the hard work in?
Yes.
I know you do, but as a whole group, you know what I mean? Because right now, the overwhelming majority of us don't talk to kids in that positive way. Bro, I know a lady with kids, her son is 3. No, 2. 2. The kid is aware and intuitive enough to know that his mom is struggling emotionally with some stuff, and he knows to stop what he's doing, stop playing, go over to his mom's face, grab it, hug it, and say, "You're beautiful, there's no need to cry." At 2 years old. So the kids are ready for the conversations. At 2. At 3. You should be letting them hold a gun at 4. Hey, it ain't enough for us to tell our kids.
Can't let them hold a gun at 4.
No, bro, listen, I'm sorry.
Bro, you not have kids.
I get that. That's a personal choice, but what we seeing out here in the world is when I taught in a white school 2 years ago, and I saw these white kids as 6th graders. I'm gonna give y'all a story. White boy named, I'm just calling him D for short. White boy used to poop on himself 2-3 times a week. Just take a crap on himself. Just poop and just say in the poop. Don't go to the bathroom, clean yourself, and just poop on himself. And he was real quiet and real tiny and real frail looking. And he was just always getting picked on by the other kids, right? And so I talked to him. I say, "Hey, man, why you pooping on yourself?" "Well, I get real nervous, and the kids make me feel nervous, and so sometimes it slips out." I say, "Okay, well, when you feel like you got to do that, go to the bathroom. Before you come to my class, go to the bathroom." And so I made this relationship with D. And one day after school, D was waiting on this ride to come. And they were just watching all these trucks ride through the car line, right? And there was this big truck that was raised up on these stilts and was like 4 feet in the air. Huge truck, right? This kid and his brother, who was in 7th grade at the time, said, "Oh, it'd be real easy for me to change the oil on that car." This boy's 11. Already talking about changing oil on the car. I said, "What? What you say, D?" He's like, "Yeah, I know how to change the oil on cars. We do it all the time." Bro, I can't change the oil on my car.
Can't either.
I mean, I know how to do it. I wouldn't be comfortable going down and getting it done in 20 minutes. Why does little white boy at 11 know how to change the oil on an F-250 that's jacked up on stilts? With confidence. Because his parents taught him. His dad is a mechanic, and his dad taught him. And he goes in his shop, and he figures stuff out, and he learned, and the boy's a master with his hands when it comes to doing stuff. That is the difference between black and white kids. They give them skills so that they can be confident in one area when they can get to the point where they need a job. They got the skills. I got a 7th grade girl. Big girl. It's about my height. Big white girl. This white girl said, Mr. Jones, every morning I wake up at 4:30 to go out and feed the cows and the pigs. I do that every morning before I come to school. My mom get mad at me if I don't go out there and do what I got to do. These kids know how to farm. 7th grade. Already self-sustaining farmers. My great grandma owned the farm. Chickens, running around in the yard, growing stuff in the backyard. And I knew they had to wring a chicken's neck, cut the chicken head off, and cook it. I mean, defeather it before they cooked it. I didn't learn though. I didn't know it was important for me to learn. Whose fault is that? Again, I'm 6, 7. Whose fault is it that I didn't know to learn? Hey, sisters in the chat. Konika says she could change a water pump, a starter, and etc. But no, I'm laughing, but somebody taught her how to do that. Q says she know how to change some stuff if she needed to. Somebody brought up another issue: land ownership. Ooh, yeah. You can deal with that. I don't know nothing about that.
No, I mean that's one of the easiest ways that people gain wealth in America is land ownership, because it's something that very rarely depreciates, and it's something that you can hand off to your kids and leave a legacy with.
Right.
So I mean, it's very important. I know, I have my mother's side of the family, which comes from Georgia. The fact that my grandfather, at the time that he was born, the fact that he was a black man that was able to amass 20 acres of land
right
in Georgia, that was a huge deal, back then or whatever.
Yeah, it's a huge deal now.
Yeah, it's a huge deal now. I'm saying, but imagine it being done back in the mid 90s. Right. I mean, in the mid 1900s. So, things like that. That's something that he could pass on to his father. My grandmother on my father's side, they have houses that they've been able to pass down to generations as well. Mm-hmm. And that is something that is a big plus in being able to, one, obtain stability.
Yeah.
Because you have a stable place to call your own, which goes a long way in people feeling comfortable in their environment. And then two, it builds, it builds you up financially. So, being in position to, and not just own your own house, but, maybe even if you, rent houses out and things of that nature,
right.
Those are things that are big in acquiring wealth. It's like I was talking to a good cousin of mine, and he was, he's an accountant, and he was like, a majority of the millionaires he knows is that a majority of their portfolio of what makes them millionaires is real estate.
Yeah,
yeah. So I mean, that is a big thing in us being able to establish ourselves into, as I said, and to create a legacy for ourselves. It goes a long way.
Hey, I don't disagree with anything
you said. I don't just invest in Jordans. I mean,
just hey, I got a map behind me. You know what I mean? I guess I believe in land. Hey man, we got to do two things. I just think this week, I guess the action steps are. I don't. Y'all get that census done. I don't know if anybody got it done. I saw maybe 2 people saying they finished. Make sure you're ready to vote. Make sure you know who you want to vote for. Make sure you got you an agenda that you can be prepared to deal with come election time. If you're a registered Democrat or Republican, make sure you vote. I think it's June 8th or 9th for Biden. And we got to start being separatist-minded. Would that be a safe way to say? Because I don't want to turn nobody off by saying segregate. And I don't mean like segregate like Jim Crow. I mean, we need to turn inward for protection. We need to turn
Yeah,
inward for growth. You know what I
true.
mean?
And I know that Kendra brought up something in the comments to where he was saying that parents only teach what they know, and that's why I was
Yeah.
saying, that's why I was saying, mentorship
Mm-hmm.
and things of that nature. If we're able to kind of fill that gap to where, um, kids might not be getting all the resources that they need from home, but there's other avenues to where we can kind of step in and fill that gap to where those kids are, they're not lacking.
Right.
One thing I'm fortunate about the work that I do for a living is that I work with a lot of grant programs that are in place to give kids resources to make sure that they are, becoming, can get into college, or even if they're not college bound, that they're able to pick up a trade or,
Yeah. Yeah.
explore career options. That's one thing I'm fortunate enough to do for a living, is to, help people, help these kind of programs out. But I think that's one thing is that, yeah, we can't expect every parent to do that, but that's where we have to have other capable men and women to fill in the gap, because we know that not all parents are capable, because they might be focused on other things of just keeping the lights on for the kids. So that's one thing that I want to make even more a part of, my of what I do, is to make sure that I'm giving back even more through mentorship and filling the gap for our kids.
So, all right. So we talking about a lot of stuff. We talking about changing the world. Fuck you, crack. Nah, we didn't say that. We're talking about protecting and being more responsible to ourselves. Now, here we go. Here we go. Matter of fact, I'm gonna give y'all a transition. We need to come together as a community. We need to look to other people who have shared thinking about shared experiences and be willing to talk and work with them so that we can find out what resources they provide to the community. So, for example, I can't change no oil in my car, right? But I want my kids to be able to do it. So, where can I go to learn that? I know a mechanic who will be willing to teach me how to change my own oil as he's doing it. So then at that point, technically I could change my own oil, but now that I've learned that from that person, I can do that. Second thing, we need to come up with a list of things that we feel like every child needs to know to be self-sufficient. My personal education philosophy is after fourth grade, after a kid shows that they're proficient enough to pass fourth grade testing standards, we don't need to teach them nothing else about no learning methods. We just now need to get them focused on a career path so that they can be self-sustaining by the time they get to high school. Because 16, 17, we want money. So farming, land ownership, money management, because we got to change our thinking about money so that we can have any of these things happen. And then a set of skills that we will learn through mentorship. Every kid should have 5 mentors that they can talk to about different aspects of what it means to be a person in America. You should be able to find 5 kids for each of your kids to talk to so that at a certain point when a kid has a coming of age ritual, which I know that scares people to say, doesn't have to be something crazy and elaborate in the woods at dark, but it can just be something that's simple, taking your kid to the beach and meeting with the 5 people that you've appointed for them and having those people take a walk with the kid along the shore around the track and imparting different parts of wisdom and telling that kid whenever you need help or have any concerns about any issues in your life, here's my phone number. I will willingly help you with anything you need. That's what culture is, people. Set shared values and a set of rites of passage to make sure that everybody is on track when they reach a certain age. Y'all saw the Roots when the Mandingo warrior left. Coach Kente went out to the woods and they came back and then he was a Mandingo warrior. That happened 60 years ago. Well, was that in the 80s? Did the Roots come out in the 80s? But anyway, we know the Coons Kente story. It's almost 30 years old, right? Why are we waiting? We can be prepared so that when kids come up against these situations, we will be all right. There's a guy in Tampa that Waleed mentioned in the comments. His name is Derek Two Grace. And if you look at him, if you look him up, he's a scary looking brother. He's short, chubby, got dreads, and he got a face full of tattoos. And I think he got gold teeth too. But this man got kids, daughters, sons. They can't be older than 10 that are reciting economic principles, cultural principles that he taught them while dismantling, reloading, and unloading a gun with a blindfold on. He believes in amassing wealth, amassing resources, and protection of those resources. That's why we keep failing in certain situations. We don't know how to adequately defend what we have. We make money. We good on that. LeBron James is a billionaire. But LeBron James got a security guard. Michael Jordan is a billionaire, but Michael Jordan got a security guard. Michael Jordan, in the Last Dance documentary, his dad died, what was it, 93, 92? It was that season. Yeah. But when his dad died, he immediately sought out mentorship from another black man.
His bodyguard.
Yes. And Mike didn't really need the man, but he valued the man's mentorship and wisdom on life because he said it helped him keep him grounded so that when he had to do some evaluating in tough situations, he knew he could rely on the wisdom of this older man. This is the charge this week. Here we go. I'm ready. If you're a parent, or if you're not a parent, if you're just an individual, find 3 mentors for each of your kids. Find 3 mentors for yourself, if you don't already have them. And I'm not talking about just education and professional mentorship. I talk to Glenn about stuff. Glenn knows a little bit more stuff than I do about some stuff, but I kind of consider him, we're kind of co-mentoring each other. But I know I personally need to find an older man that's a mentor. That's kind of why I stopped going to church routinely, because I evolved so much in my understanding of the Bible that I wanted mentorship from a certain point, because I knew the basics. The church I was attending at the time, it was a blessing, but it was feeding people that were new to Christ. I was never new to Christ. I didn't need that. I needed higher, deeper concepts in my understanding of the Bible. I couldn't get it at that church. The males in that church weren't able to give it to me. I had some perspectives about activeness in the black community that I couldn't get at that church, so I left the church because there was no mentorship. I don't ever want to be the smartest person in the room. Don't do your kids a disservice. We need that. That's our charge this week. Find 3 mentors for your kids. If you ain't got kids, find them for yourself. And complete the damn census. Make sure you registered to vote and your shit is good so you can vote. It's in 10 days, I believe. 9 days. No excuses, y'all. This the time to act. And take a kid with you. We got to say to these kids are passionate. They don't want to be mistreated. They burning shit down because they don't know what else to do. And not all the kids are, doing it. Again, these kids they're aware. They know what to do. If you look at footage in Minnesota, you can go on my personal page. I'll repost the video. These kids are telling the media what it is that they want and when they'll stop the protesting. But in the meantime, everybody in this chat, again, it's 12 of us again this week, pledge. Who are we mentoring? And if we don't know, who can we find to teach our kids the stuff that they're going to need to know when they're an adult? I need to know, gun ownership runs in my family. Skip the generation. It's not skipping me. Land ownership was in my family. It skipped the generation. It's not skipping me. My granddad was basically like the W.E.B. Du Bois dude. He was a professor, and he believed in black nationalist ideas, and he was a Christian.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I mean, when I met the man in my 20s, first thing he asked me, have you ever read the Book of the Dead? And I was like, I know about it, never read it. He's like, you need to read it. Also, you need to get you a Bible with pictures of black people in it. I was like, oh, this dude wilding. But I agreed. But I had never met the man. I was 24 at the time when I met him. And this is the stuff he was on. That's what he wanted me to know. He wanted me to own land. You know, some stuff happened, but hey, LA. LA said, I think mentorship is huge in our communities. I think it's a false narrative that mentorship is not happening in our communities across the country. Respect LA. LA on the ground. LA is a brother that is putting in the work. He done employed me a couple times in that same vein. I'm not
No
going to
doubt
dispute
about
that.
it. Shout out to LA as well.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been, a part of what he's trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's well organized.
Yeah.
The kids, he has the respect in the ear of the kids. And he's actually somebody I was planning to get in contact with in the next couple of days to talk about support strategies moving forward. So shout out to LA.
Accountability buddies. Quishina mentioned that. We need those. Hey.
Accountability part. I'm part of accountability.
Right.
Accountability.
Right. We need that. The quarantine has reconnected me with some old friends from undergrad, and I feel like that's a blessing for me. But we need more of it. So, here somebody just said something. LA. Glenn says mentorship in the absence of community culture is ineffective. It means nothing. Woo. Woo.
Just for clarification, I'm guessing he means that, say you mentor a kid for an hour a week, but this kid goes back into a community that's not backed up by what he's receiving from that mentor. Is that what, 1 hour a week cannot overcome the other hours that he's involved in that environment?
That's true. Or, not even the or, and what are we teaching the kids when we with them for that hour? Is it junk? Is it, all right, stretch, let's do these footwork drills. All right, boy, good job. Here your Gatorade, $20. See you next week. Is that worth our time? We got to be culturally minded. Again, LA put in a lot of work. If y'all want to work with them, LA, you still got the Community FX program. He has a page on Facebook. We've got Guide Right, Kappa Alpha Psi. We do have Guide Right. That's a mentoring program. But there are age restrictions, so you might have to do some more research on those programs. But let's put the work in this week. That's the goal this week. And again, fill out the census. It take you 10 minutes. They want to know how many people live with you, how old you is, when your birthday, what's your ethnicity. That's it. Oh, and if you own the place you live in. You can do it on the internet. You're going to need some mail that's got a 12-digit code before you can complete it, so they can make sure that you're giving data on the right address. Fill it out. That's funding. That's political power. They're drawing up political boundaries based on the representation in each group. It says, remind me when people say prayer needs to be put back in the school, priorities if it's not in the home. Oh, pointless if it's not in the home. Yeah, I think she's responding to Glenn and you. LA says he still has Community FX. It's in the chat. It's Community EFX. LA is a brother that's been on the ground since I met him almost 20 years ago.
Yeah.
He's serious about it.
And don't forget that virtual relay. The relay.
Yeah. This month, it's June. I'm just saying June. This month in June, LA's Community FX has a virtual relay race. He's sponsoring it, and of course, the money and the proceeds go back into making sure everybody get what they need. I taught at that program one summer. It's a lot of kids, and they need a lot of workers. So,
Yeah.
Got to be willing to get out here and do the work.
Yeah, I mean, it was a whole bunch of fun last year. The relay race.
Yeah,
it was something that I was really looking forward to this year. It's gonna be in a different format, but I'm pretty sure that LA and the crew still gonna have it top notch. So.
All right. Hey, I unwittingly joined a mentorship group 4 years ago. Me, Kenzel, and Maxon. We did some work. Waleed jumped in. I was helping Waleed's son get a little better at some skills. Waleed was inadvertently participating in that program, so I know those guys believe in it, but we need to get more people into it. I can count 5 brothers right now that I know they're working in the communities, and I try to get more information if they need it to them. So, hey, this has been an hour and 20 minutes. We want to hold y'all up. But again, next action steps. Find mentorship. Matter of fact, I'm gonna put up some ideals that I think would serve everyone well, as many people as possible, regardless of religious affiliation. And let's talk more about building a culture that equips children, meaning 25 and younger, because at 24 I'm still a kid, to navigate certain situations. And we need to have these conversations with our kids about what's happening. They got to be prepared. They can't be getting shocked, and it can't just be rage that's pent up, because that's what we're seeing now. Kids that are just upset without tools on how to deal with their upset. But anyway, let's see. You dropped the knowledge for the kids to be used in the future at 12 years old. Who has a kid that's effed up in the wait? You dropped the knowledge for the kids to use in the future. Yes, a 12-year-old who has an effed up home is not going to be able to make change, but you stay with them until they are able to get out of the house. Mentorship is long term. Yes, don't be mad if it don't work out in 2-3 years. Albert Gibbs is on Facebook. Albert Gibbs has an academy for mentorship. I think it's Albert Gibbs Academy of Leadership.
I think
These are all
it's Albert
programs.
Gibbs Academy.
Yeah, but they're for older kids though. So I don't know the age group of everybody here, but those are the 3 programs that I know about for young black males. We'll have to do some more research on young.
And also Bradford, he's a part of the group in Tampa as well.
Okay.
I forget. Can't believe I forgot the name, but he's a part of a program through Hillsborough County with Mr. Anderson as well.
Yeah, Jarrell, I cut out all these picks. But anyway, yes, it is a marathon, folks. And we're only a quarter of the way into the race, okay? It's not enough that we are successful and alive and have homes. We have to teach the kids behind us, okay? So keep your eyes out. Let's get this work done. Oh, yeah, Metavision is the name of the group. Koshina just put in the chat. Metavision. All right, we got to find something for the ladies. Ladies, please drop some mentor groups for the young ladies in the community. We don't want to be one-sided. We want to also service our young girls as well as our young boys. So, yep, we need to organize behind a black, separatist, nationalist, insular culture that serves us well. You got it? You good?
Good.
All right, y'all. Appreciate y'all. I guess thanks for forcing us to do this.
We also want to thank you guys for being so interactive. I mean, we got a lot of comments today. We was kind of able to roll off of everything that everybody's been able to say. It's been really interactive. It makes it a good show for us, I can say. But I appreciate you guys for rocking with us.
Yeah. One suggestion for the young girls in the community. Lisa Stevens, she's a cake lady. She's a business owner in Temple Terrace, I believe, and apparently she's willing to work with young ladies on business ownership. So we have some suggestions. All right, let's keep building this together. We got to build this together.
Yes.
I'm loving it. Woo! All right, y'all.
All right.